Hey, what's going on? It's Mike, and I'm here with another episode of Smart, Simple, Digital. So here's a question that I've been thinking about recently. Is it still necessary to have a website for your business or your personal brand, or is social media enough? Is that all you need? So my answer to that question is yes. I think a website is still a very important thing to have, and I don't think that it's a wise decision to build your entire online existence on social media alone. And I say that because social media by itself is still limiting for a number of different reasons. Number one, there's the issue of ownership. You know, when you use a platform, you're just a user of that social media platform, and you are bound by the rules that are in place on that platform. And if you don't know the rules and you happen to post content that somehow violates those rules, then your account can be shut down. In many cases without warning or any type of notice at all. And if that happens, not only do you lose valuable content, but you can lose your audience in the process as well. And that can be something that may be very, very devastating for your brand, for your business. Another thing about social media is that everybody isn't on it. That's just a reality. If you're just focusing 100% of your effort online on social media and no place else, you could be missing out on a huge portion of your audience who is elsewhere on the web. And on a related note, it's important to understand that a lot of people still rely on search. They still go to Google or whatever whatever search engine it is they prefer. They rely on those things to help them to find the answers to the questions that they may have, to find recommendations for particular products and services, and just to get around in general, you know what I mean? And so it's important to point that out because for the most part, your individual social media posts don't end up in search results. Here's an example. Let's say someone like a chef who might post exclusively to Instagram, and they might have some awesome content. You know, they take pictures of the dishes that they cook, and then in the captions, they include the recipe for that particular dish. And then you have somebody who's looking for recipes online. This person is not on social media. And if they are on social media, they don't follow the chef in our example. So that person goes they go to Google and they're looking for a recipe. And guess what? They might be looking for a particular recipe that our chef on Instagram cooks and is really good at, but they're not going to find it on Google because social media posts don't end up in search results. And that can be like that's a lost opportunity because that's another opportunity. Search is another opportunity for somebody to find your content online. And again, if you're just concentrating 100% posting on social media, and you might have awesome posts too, but if that's the only place where you're putting it at, it's not going to be found by somebody who's not on social media or who doesn't really follow you. The other limitation there though is that even if somebody does follow you online, if you have a really huge audience, it's no guarantee that members of your audience, your followers, are going to see everything that you post. And they're not going to see it when you post it. They may not even see it at all because, number one, you know, most social networks now have the algorithmic timeline, you know, or the algorithmic news feed. So what you see, what your followers see, what your audience sees online is really tailored to the things that they are more likely to have interest in, or the things that are really trending across the network. Really, it's just like what they see is really tailored to them at that particular moment. So it's not likely just because somebody follows you that they'll see what you post. They're not going to see it at the moment when you post it. They may not see it at all. Some people, you know, are not on social media every day. And so that's another reason why they may not see your content. So that's another limitation just to how your content is seen and how you actually connect with your audience. Another limitation to social media has to do with like the ways in which you have to, your content has to be presented. You know, things like falling within a particular character limit, or making sure that your videos are fit within a particular length. And then you have to worry about things like dimensions, you know, like whether or not your photos fall within a certain dimension, just to ensure that they're going to be seen properly. Another area where social media falls short right now is e-commerce. So if you want to sell products online, products or services online, social media is still not the proper place to do it. It's not built for it. There's still a lot of limitations around that. So I don't point all those things out to say necessarily that social media is bad. I just point those things out as a reason for why you still need a website. Because if you have a website alongside your social media presence, it just allows you so much more flexibility, and it gives you so many opportunities to connect with your audience and to really expand your reach online. All right, so a few benefits of having a website alongside your social media presence. Number one, there's the issue of ownership. You have a greater sense of ownership over your actual website, and less rules that you're actually bound by. You know, as long as you're doing things legally, as long as you're running like a legal operation, you're not doing anything that's illegal, you don't really have to worry about your site being shut down and losing your content. Number two, having a website alongside your social media presence just does so much more to increase your visibility online, and it increases the opportunities for people to find you and discover your content. As in with the example that I used earlier with that chef, that person who just they just posted their content exclusively to Instagram, and their individual Instagram posts aren't present on Google. However, if that person also had a website where they posted pictures of the things that they cooked and recipes alongside with that content, there's a greater chance that people could find them. So if those people who aren't on social media, they could still find them when they search for things in Google. Another example is that I'll use myself. So I don't follow everybody. I'm on social media, but I don't follow everyone. But there have been a lot of cases where maybe I was researching a certain topic or looking for recommendations around a certain thing, and I turned to Google. So I started researching that topic, that subject on Google, and I've come across really interesting articles that are written on that subject. And those articles are written by a person who happens to also be in social media. And that's led me to find some really interesting people and services and businesses on social media, which led me to then follow them. So again, just having a website in addition to social media increases your visibility and the chances for people to follow you and discover you online. Another benefit of having a website in addition to your social media is that you have greater flexibility and more options in the way of connecting with your audience. So as I mentioned earlier, your audience, your followers on social media are not always going to see everything that you post when you post it, or they may not see it at all because people just aren't on social media all the time. Now, one way around that, one solution for that is that if you have a website, you can do things like you can set up like an opt-in email form, right? And you can direct your audience from social media to head to your website. And if they're interested, they can sign up to your newsletter or your email list, right? And so what that can allow you to do is then you have a way to contact your audience outside of social media. Because in most cases right now, if you have, no matter how large your audience is, the only way that you can connect with them and talk to them now is through your post. And as I mentioned, people aren't always guaranteed to see your posts. Another way that you can connect with them now is you have to do ads on some platforms. Like you can't actually reach out and send a direct message to your audience that it's guaranteed for them to see. But again, if you have that website, you can do a tactic like have an opt-in email form, direct your audience there. If they're interested, they can sign up. And then anytime you have some content that you want to be sure that people see when you put it out, anything that you want to communicate with people outside of a platform, you can send that to your mailing list, and it just kind of increases your opportunities to connect with your audience. It gives you much more flexibility. Another huge benefit that a website gives you it comes down to e-commerce. So as I mentioned earlier, social media still is not really the ideal place to sell goods and services. And a website does it so much better because you can actually have an online store. There's so many e-commerce tools out there that you can stand up and integrate with a website that will allow you to sell products and services and make it super easy, way more efficient than you can ever do on a social media platform. Another benefit, and this might be the one of the biggest ones of all, is that with a website, you don't have any boundaries on how you can tell your stories. You know, the type of content that you create, the type of experience that you create around your content. You can do it however you want to, because again, you're not bound by any character limits. You know, you're not bound by how long your video can be or what dimensions your photos have to be in. So your own website alongside your social media, again, you can just tell so many more stories without limits, without boundaries. So here's another example that I'll use. I think that if you only have social media and you don't have a website, you are like a performer on stage in an arena. And you might have a great audience before you, but outside of that, you are alone. Like, you don't have a team at all. So you don't have a team doing promotions to help to get people to that arena. You don't have any representation at the door who's able to get or collect information from your audience, like contact information so that you can reach them after the show. You don't have a merch table, so you can't sell your goods and services. And then you don't have like an after party or meet and greet set up, right? So you don't have that place where people can go after the show to learn more about you or to just immerse themselves deeper into your experience. And again, if you have a website that fills in all those gaps, allows you to do more promotions. You know, people have more of a chance to discover you in order to get into that venue that is social media. They can see you in search. You have more ways to get in touch with your audience. So you can allow people to opt in so they can share their contact information with you so that you can contact them and share content with them outside of social media through an email list. The third thing, again, is you can do merch. So you can set up an online store and do e-commerce with a website. And then there's a possibility to do that, offer that broader content. So you can give them a place to go to catch more of your content whenever they want to, and to really get deeper and immerse themselves into your experience. So going back to that initial question on whether or not a website is still necessary, or if social media is enough, yes, a website is still very necessary. Gives you so much more flexibility, so much power, so much more opportunities to increase your reach online. I'd like to hear from you guys though. If you have a different take on it, hey, let me know. Drop a line down in the comments. Also, if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments as well. If you found the info in this video helpful, make sure that you like it, make sure that you share it. And if you haven't done so already, make sure that you become a fan and subscribe. You can find links down below to the other places online where you can follow me. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.